big time. I'm not seeing that from 4MV, and that means to me, at least as of right now, that I think this split is going to keep going until the end. I don't see any change happening for 4MV. What do you think?
Yeah, you know what? It's kind of hard because you can get into your head so easily in stages like this. I know from experience, and like you see, well, they had a monster game under their belt, and when you have such a crazy performance, you can get inside your head easily and just say, oh, all we got to do is this every game and we're going to win this, right? And, well, unfortunately, we're seeing for them, right, other teams adapt, right? CAG Osaka, the next game, camp them out on that bridge. And you can't just continue to do that same thing that worked for one game in particular. And you got to be able to mix it up here. I mean, 4MV, they're still right there. And I think that's kind of like the hard part. Is like they're at that point in the leaderboards where they're like, man, if we could just replicate that magic we had on day one in one game, yeah, we'll be in the top 3. We'll be good. So I said it yesterday that I would give them 5 games to play that loose. Remember that? I'm still right on board with that. I'll give them 4 more matches to kind of play this kind of crazy split. Yeah, but after that, literally the last Miramar of the day, you have to tighten things up and play for those wins. Otherwise, you're not going to make it to the top 3.
Yeah, and I want to say this one last thing about them, then we're going to move on to talk about some other things, especially when we're looking back at the overalls. They didn't play like this in PMSL. This is why I think for me it's so jarring to see just Doc so far away from his team, because he did not do this in PMSL. Unless I'm wrong, Max. Feel free to correct me.
He was playing a bit split from his team, but we have to be completely honest here, Jason. You had feeder teams, okay, in CSA compared to what you have in PMGC. And he was getting away with stuff that I think you're not going to get away with in PMGC. You just got to tighten up that split. If you still want to play split, that's fine. Maybe instead of doing these wide 3-1s, you go to a tighter 2-2 split. Like instead of a 100-meter distance, you play like 50 meters or something like that. And especially, Jason, one thing that was lacking this game, they didn't have cars to facilitate that regrouping. And I think that is something they need to try and focus on heavily for the next few games.
You guys at home who are watching, we did this before. You guys can actually interact here and vote on who you think we should interview next. Will it be Influence Rage, Count Voin Donkey, or will it be Alliance? It's up to you guys to let us know over in the English or Indonesian YouTube channel. We have about 20 seconds left. We didn't really get to talk about leaderboards too much there, but I will talk about one team in particular, Vicious, who have been just falling down constantly on the leaderboards after ranking up to 4th place. With this bounce back, they go from 9th place at the end of yesterday up to 6th place. So nice to see a little bit of a bounce back for them, but whether or not they can continue that bounce is obviously left to be seen. And of course, not to mention Thunder Talk able to get themselves up to 4th place. Hot Jukes, you said it. Day 3 is the real day 1 here for the team from PEL. Let's see if they can continue as we head into our first Erangel of the day.
Match 14, and our teams are looking to fortify themselves in towards the latter half of the tournament for themselves in this Group Green game. It will, of course, be yet another go at Erangel. The grassy pastures await. We're coming over the shooting range hills down to the Sosnovka military base.
Second match then, first match of Erangel. Happy to see this one come through. I think we had quite a few teams change up their playstyle coming into day 3, and that's very important. I think you get halfway through your crew stage and you do get to a point where you're like, maybe some things do need to change here, and we cannot keep going with how we've been playing. I think Jason makes a good point in the sense of Doc playing split across from the rest of his team. I don't think it's terrible though, especially that last match. It felt much better handled, at least, where he played out, but it wasn't to go for anything aggressive. It was literally just to scout out that high ground position, and it ended up paying dividends later on where they were able to take on CAG Osaka because they had that information on them from that early game. Fortunately, a lot of teams get cut out from a nasty hat-in circle. And really, that's one of the few circles in Sandhawk where it is luck of the draw, really. It's like, it goes down towards the south side, the mountaintop teams hit win. It goes up towards the north side, hat-in teams win. It goes towards the center, that Vicious team should have won. But they did not. They really did not win at all. It really had a bad time.
So little from that position that they should have been able to achieve. It could have been way more impactful, and they just let it all slip away, which is very unfortunate. A big north circle shift blank Actually, Thunder Talk are joining 4MV on Sosnovka on the south side. So potential conflict on the bridge crossings that will come through. Could see that COG Osaka bridge camp that we always talk about on this game. Moving on in to this match, we've also got Team Secret maybe trying to push past DRS, who are coming off the back of a chicken dinner over near Milta. But it's up to the north again, up to the shooting range hills, up to Zaverny. We've seen so many of these circles. It seems like we're just running it back every single time on this lobby.
We're not changing much, which I think some teams might not be too unhappy with. Some other teams might be like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. Please take us away from this position. But yeah, heading up towards Zaverny now. It was interesting that no team actually dropped in Zaverny, despite it being a viable drop spot on this playing path. I think a lot of teams were expecting this to go elsewhere. 4MV, Thunder Talks, as well as Team Secret, long rotate for all of them. I think this is actually becoming... There is a world now where it might be feasible to say that 4MV actually hasn't had the circles a lot. But
whoa.
Yeah, there have been other goings on. With Thunder Talks now taking 86 points. As we heard on the desk, day 3 is the real day 1 of the PAL teams.
Yeah.
And we'll keep saying it every day.
Until it gets to, what, next year? We'll be like, oh, 2025 is the real 2024 for the PEL teams. Goodness me. That's what we're on to next, I think. But they have managed to find some points there and get that crossing done, which was in that last match I'm talking about, getting up to that compound that the Vicious really didn't hold, it turns out, was a great result for them. And I think they got 10 points off the back of that match. They're looking to push up. They are much closer now to D+. And if we have another game where, like the last time around, the top 3 go down fairly quickly, it's going to be a little bit easier to catch them than maybe we expected, because we have some of the largest margins between 3rd and 4th that we've seen of any group at this stage. We've been constantly being fed statistics by Dennis, who's been, which is very much appreciated. And the gap between 3rd and 4th after match 12, which is at the end of day 2, was 27 points, right? For this group. For yellow, it was 6, and for red, it was 2. So you can see how much more of a leap needs to be made. So it's good that Thunder Talk are trying to take that in stride.
Still, for D+, in particular, yesterday, I think it was match 2, they broke 100 points. Since then, they have gained 8 points over the next 5 matches, including today's. So D+, has been a real drop-off in performance for them, which is how it has felt for a lot of South Korean teams, where they'll do incredibly well at the start and then slow down somewhat towards the end, which is unfortunate. Now, whether this is due to the fact that a lot of teams are looking at how D+ are rotating, but like, that's kind of a good rotate, man. Maybe we copy it and add a little twist in there. And by a twist, I mean, we'll go a little wide. More. That's it. The D+ just having all of their strats just red, and everyone's like, yeah, that works. We'll do that.
Yeah, I mean, if it works, right? Like, you're just going to be like, yeah, no, that's our strat now. And that's the danger, right, of having such a big early start to a tournament, is teams really pay attention to you. And
not like little old Influence Rage.
No, not like Influence Rage or little old RRQ from the previous games that we saw. Although they haven't really grown up too much into the games so far today. They had an unfortunate approach to the northeast side of Hartin in that last match. But I think that circle is just so cruel, right? Having to cross on that north side, it's such a dangerous circle. It's